Right. Welcome everybody. Hopefully we have a few people getting on here. All right, cool. So so introducing. We don't have a lot. I don't know if we advertise this real well again. So we'll see how many of you people are crazy enough to have nothing to do on a Wednesday night. And now that the Curse of Oak Island is not on anymore, I don't know how you guys aren't just
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
millions of subscribers because I don't
Pe-
know.
People are moving on up.
Curse of Oak Island. Once that got done, should be over here watching, right? So no, we're gonna go through, and hopefully all of these will be on. I'll put it in the message chat actually. My Peak YouTube channel. I think it's called mypeak.com or something like that. So if you get on YouTube and you want to subscribe, you'll get these all like a replay forever. I'm pretty sure they're all on there. I have people coming back and saying they watched the shoulder, the carpal tunnel aspect of it. Speaking of that, before we get started, we got to tell you about a couple. We'll do it at some point, Amy and I, because Amy has worked her tail off on the carpal tunnel aspect.
Yeah.
Kind of new in the sense. So yeah, go ahead, Amy, first, and then tell them how our carpal tunnel people that are doing that are going, in your opinion.
So I think we've had a couple people do our carpal tunnel package that we have. They've come twice a week. They get an adjustment and gua sha on their elbow and wrists, thumbs, wherever we deem necessary. And they're doing really well. Our one guy is at the end. I think tomorrow or Friday is his last visit for this time, and he's gotten so much more range of motion in his elbows, so much more strength in his hand, which was a big deal. He works with his hands every day, so he's gotten so much more strength in his hand, less pain. It just has gone really well. And he actually asked, he said, well, what do I do from this point forward? And I told him to, discuss that with Dr. Jeremy and see what he thinks going forward. But he's probably to a good point now where he could just come in as needed if he, does something specific to injure himself or he has a flare up or whatever. And then we can just treat it that way.
Yeah, we're excited. Like where he's come, just in how I would say the information, the strength. So the guy we're talking about that has a really good testimonial, he works with his hands a lot, kind of on a farm, works in mechanics, all those kind of things. But the biggest thing is the doctor figured out, or when I evaluated him, the pure strength he actually ended up getting back was um, incredible, actually. And so just this short time frame, it's really made a difference. And I think now he'll be at a what I call like a maintenance aspect of it where we won't have to do it all the time. But if we keep ahead of it, it's going to be fantastic.
Yeah.
Hang on for everybody, real quick. I did this again where I didn't put in. It says the title's the shoulder. And it's supposed to be something different. So I got to type really quick, but I'm terrible. So
Yeah, so it's awesome that we were able to help him get to that point, and we offer these packages so that we can help more people. More specifically, we can do TMJ, plantar fasciitis. There's lots of different things that we can help with. So it's been pretty exciting to kind of watch him heal and his body change through the last 3 months.
yeah, and that was it's been so cool being able to understand how to offer that now and
Yeah.
do it in an efficient way where as soon
Yep.
as you get in, you get treatment of something like that. And so the
Mhm.
shoulder, carpal tunnel, those type of things, and we'll definitely be hitting on those as we go too. So, tonight though, we want to talk about something that is kind of near and dear to my heart after the last 2 or 3 years of like pandemic stuff and everything. Some people know, but a lot of people don't. Where I did what they call it's a it's a longer intensive herbal training. So to become what they call like a certified herbalist. Hey, I
Hi, Rich.
You're so lucky I don't make you sit down right now, coming in like that. I know.
Well,
Usually,
I'm
if
not in
you
your
attack
shot
my video,
anymore.
yeah, if you attack. But so this 2-year program I've always wanted to do because of a few things. One is the true philosophy of chiropractic, and I found this really cool video I want to show you guys. But one of the things that you have to understand about chiropractic is we think in different terms. One reason why you see a difference between most holistic things or most medical things and the chiropractic approach is because we go based on this. It's I'm going to say it, but there's there's inductive reasoning and deductive reasoning. Inductive reasoning is looking at a problem and trying to solve that problem from just where the problem is. This is going to be a little complex, so I apologize. So, deductive reasoning is coming from a problem where you assume something's happening. So, in chiropractic, the best way to explain that is saying, I believe as a chiropractor that the human body is made in perfection. Okay. So everything is made in perfection from day one. Okay. When things go awry or they're not working correctly, we look for why is the body not performing correctly? Does that make sense? Hopefully. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So so you're coming from a perfect car off the lot, right? And if something goes awry, what happened to that off piece, right? So, oh, eh, man, that's gonna be a tough one. I apologize if you don't get that, but the idea is that we start with one of my favorite quotes of all time is nature needs no help, it needs no interferences. So I want to show you this real quick video. It's like 2 minutes long, but it has. So remember, these quotes came from the 1900s. There's about 20 of these. This is a guy named B.J. Palmer. B.J. Palmer was the son of the discoverer of chiropractic. Okay, so he was the one that got chiropractic rolling worldwide. Essentially, the son took it and just expanded it through the world. But some of his quotes you're going to see and you're going to go, I've heard that one before, or they're just so profound it almost like blows your mind a little bit. So this is a real like 2 minute slideshow that I found on YouTube, which is crazy. It was just awesome that way. So I'm going to screen share real quick and then we'll do that. Let's see if I can find it. I'm getting good at this. All right. So you can see that?
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right, here we go. So I'll just let it kind of run. All right. So thank you for letting me watch that real quick. I just love those quotes. There's so many different aspects to those that what we wanted to do in our chiropractic clinic though was offer a little bit more of that world. And with chiropractic, we've always loved where we're at. I've been doing it 20 years and where we've come, where people are understanding that philosophy. One of my favorites he said in there was, oh shoot, I'm gonna miss it up. Hang on.
Mhm.
One of my favorites. Let's see if I can do it real quick. Is it this one? Nope. Okay, hang on. Gotta find it. Oh, come on. It was like, oh, I am sorry. Okay, hang on. Oh, there it is. So we get sick because of something inside going wrong. We get well because of something inside going right. And that's a big statement, right? So a lot of times when we look at the human body and we start looking at these things, one of the biggest things that me and Amy and I are kind of excited this herbal training made me understand what is out there that we don't necessarily take advantage of, you know, right in front of us, right? And so what happens is like many times we come from these places. There's three things that I would say you could consider things that cause interferences to your body's ability to be at its best, right? And we call those toxins, trauma, and thoughts. So you have three T's. That's what us chiropractors go based on. So toxins are what we're going to talk about tonight. What are we putting in the body that could be interfering with the things of our body necessarily? So you could have something that your body doesn't process well. Good example is food poisoning, right? So that food that comes in is interfering with the functions of your human body, so you have a reaction to that. So that's a good one. Uh, Deadly poisons, right? Why did deadly poisons work? Because it starts to interfere with the body pieces that would cause you to have, you know, bad poison, death in your heart. Why can you have a certain plant out there, or a snake venom? Those interfere with your body's ability, your organs' ability to go, to live. So then all of a sudden you have these different chemical reactions that can actually cause someone to die, right? And so those are huge extremes of interferences, right? But with toxins, you have these things that delay or get in the way of our body's ability to heal. So one of the chronic one, well, we'll get into that in a minute. So then the traumas are the obvious, right? You fall off a ladder, injure a joint. That joint now doesn't work right. So now you have an interference in your spinal system. That spinal system now tracks and starts making you adapt. You're perfect, so that therefore it becomes an interference to you living your best life, basically, in that sense, right? And then the one that's much bigger than anyone has ever realized, and that is the stresses of our world and our in our own brain, right? So
Yeah.
our thoughts, how negative they are, or all those type of things. When those negative thoughts come into play, or the high stresses of our world, our body starts to becoming interfered with, therefore increasing our body's ability to stay as healthy as you can, right? So we kind of always look at you and gauge you. How healthy are you, and where are you on the scale? Some people are up here. Let's say you could have a major injury, but you eat everything correctly, you do all these things, but you could still have that injury that occurs, right? So the biggest takeaway is where are you on this scale? Like, are you living, that age, the one that, how old are you really in your body? And then you take a picture and you say,
Yeah.
I look 60, that kind of thing. That kind of is the idea, because some people are living, we have 90-year-olds, we have all those things. They're living in their 70s because of their choices that they've made, maybe not knowing all these different interferences of their life. But these are things that are I keep saying, the more and more people are awaking to a lot of these things that are happening. And one of the reasons is, and Amy and I talked about this too, is our technology's changed so much. Our
Yeah.
technology to access information. Now we're making these decisions based on, especially my mama bears. They start reading on what's good for their child, and they would look up, and then all of a sudden they're like, "Hey, I don't want to give the child this because it has this ingredient in it, right?" And so, why wouldn't you do that? As a mama bear, why is that ingredient such a big deal? Well, it would interfere with the baby's ability to grow, right? What's the difference between that and you? That's where we get this disconnect, right? So we have these
Hmm.
mama bears that are disconnected in that sense because they're looking out for that kid, everything healthy. Kids never touch, avocados to everything. But then as adults, we get away from that process, like looking in what's good for us. So that's where we decided, and this has been a long time coming actually, but
Yeah.
a couple years in, once I finished this degree, we were going to put in ways that we can really start evaluating where people are on the nutrition spectrum. So this is kind of our wellness idea. I would like to say it's like a herbal plan or herbal coaching. Um, it's morphing as we go. All the office staff has been, I'm walking everybody through to see the right process. I think we got it down though. I think it's
Yeah.
pretty exciting. We kind of evaluate everything nutritionally, and we see, how everything kind of flows with that. And then you can choose to do it on your own, or we can help you on the way, right? And so those are the really cool parts of what we're doing. And then Amy and I are actually going to do, we're going to do this conversation here, but then we're also going to start and anybody that's interested, even talking tonight, make sure you get a hold of us, either put a message with a way to contact you. We're going to start a Zoom group where it's questions and answers on just holistic nutritional recommendations. So we're going to have a night of that maybe once a month or so that
Hmm.
we can go through, and we'll have like classes where we learn the various parts and why you would do certain things. So a good example of this is one of my favorites, and everybody's read 1,000 things on it, but turmeric, right? So one of the things in my herbal aspect is I kept seeing in chiropractic everybody going, "Oh yeah, I take turmeric today. Well, I still hurt here and here and here and here and here, here." Like as you go, I go, I don't think it's working, right? And then as I'm learning my herbal stuff, I go, well, you heard that from grandma. Grandma's aunt took turmeric in this pill off of Myers, and she said it was great, right? So then you go get the same one, and you take two of them, thinking that's going to do you any good, and then you're like, well, that didn't work, right? The reason that stuff doesn't work is because it's a natural it's a natural supplement, it's a natural herb, and what's in there needs to be kind of built up in your system. So what we've learned over time is, like, let's say a turmeric. If you all are is anybody reach in the chat too if anybody's taken something like that, and we can talk about it. But at turmeric, a lot of times you have to build it up. So many times I'll tell somebody to take, you know 5 to 6 in the first day every day for that for a few weeks actually, before that starts to build up to actually get the effect, right? Because we got to remember, some of these medications you're going against are designed to be done, start having an effect in an hour or two, right? that's a pretty heavy scale to go against like any kind of herbal supplement. So that's one of the major issues with where we're at in the medical world. We're so good at eliminating whatever ails us, but then at the same time, you're also causing massive amounts of things to start happening if you live in that world. You know, the kidney dialysis area, in our healthcare system is not growing at a pace that should be happening. And one of the reasons is because we're taking way too much of this stuff and way too often, and all of you've heard it. It's not, I'm not doing anything scare tactic wise. You've heard of those people going in for dialysis. One of the major issues is chronic use of pain medication over time, over the counter stuff. It has nothing to do with, necessarily these higher end ones, but it is a case, and we have to start looking at that. So we have a couple ways. So we have this cool like herbal coaching that anyone can do. What's neat about it is like I kind of go through the evaluation process, and then we have with Amy, we are able to kind of track you as you go, making the right supplementation choices for your body. Because one of the biggest missed things is you could go out and just grab all the supplements in the world that Google says is good for you, and you won't be able to pay your house mortgage, but you might be the healthiest you ever were, right? Because there's $8,000 worth of stuff there. So one of the things that we do is we customize it exactly to you, your family history, the histories of your family, like all those pieces. We could actually break it down and then see what you can do for your lifetime, right? And that's what I love about it. There's another thing I want to show you. This is kind of cool. If you're not interested in that coaching aspect, which is totally fine, right? There's another one that we have that is it's a quicker way. You get a lot of information pretty quick, but it's nutritional blood work is what they call it. We use this guy. He's out of Ohio. He's fantastic. What we do is we'll send blood work down to this guy. Let me see if I can do it. And then he prints off this awesome report.
Very detailed report.
Very detailed. I haven't got a sample of it, Amy. This is going to be sweet.
Oh, boy. Oh, my goodness.
Look at that.
Nice job.
Right. Yeah, so this is this huge report. I'll get down to the cool part. So a lot of stuff. It goes through every little thing in your blood work, and kind of an explanation of what you can do. Highly detailed, like more detailed than almost any blood work you do for like your normal wellness stuff. But once you get down to the nitty gritty, my favorite part is you start getting into lifestyle and dietary recommendations, right? And so those are just things to stay away from. Training, water, all the stuff you hear me lecture everybody on. And then here's the cool part. So it breaks down all these different numbers for us, right? And it tells us where we're at and all those kind of things, right? So this is always confusing in an MD's office. We're always like, oh, okay, that's great. What do I do about it? Well, you can take at the end of this, we go all the way through, and boom. You guys seeing that, Amy? You good?
Yep.
Okay. So this is the things that are recommended based on your blood work. Okay. So that's really cool. So sometimes we will recommend this highly to patients in general if we're having kind of unusual health situations where we can't figure it out. We've caught, oh man, since we've used this blood work, we have at least caught one or two easy like conditions that may have been overlooked later, right? And so we're able to kind of give them a baseline of what they can do on their own to kind of bring it along with, right? So that was pretty cool. But tonight I wanted to also go through, because I don't want to like totally just keep it as a sales pitch, right? I want to talk about a few things. that will be super helpful going forward. So when we talk health and nutrition, there's a few fundamental keys that we should probably always keep in mind, right? So now you know you can ask us about those things. We have like opportunities to go in more depth, right? But some of the things that over this entire herbal coaching I've learned is there's a few key fundamentals that we should always be doing. Okay. So I'm going to write those down, or I'm going to tell you. So fish oil. Fish oil is a fantastic supplement. We should all be thinking about taking every single day. Okay. Vitamin D, vitamin D3, really. So, vitamin D3 in Michigan, especially, or any place if you got like a wintertime season, vitamin D is essential. So, most virus issues that came with the flu or anything, low vitamin D3 determined how their symptoms were. Okay. So that D3 level is so critical. It's not even funny. C, vitamin C, and zinc, right? And then I'll make sure I put them in the um, chat actually. One of the neat things I discovered though, there's two supplements that you can add to that regimen to help your vitamin C, or I'm sorry, your zinc to kind of absorb into the cells a little better. You know, and it's the stuff called quinine or quercetin. Okay, so those two are two supplements that you can, as kind of an add-on, right, to your whole vitamin, all those different vitamins there. Vitamin D3 is one that can be special, like because when the sun actually comes out, whenever that is in Michigan, I have no idea. It's like May 25th or something. I think we've had 3 sunny days or something like that, or a week. We had a week. It was like 90. And now it's
Yeah.
back down to, yeah. If you're not from
Jeremy.
Michigan and you're watching this, you have to, it's like a bad haircut. You like wait a day and it'll be different like tomorrow. Yeah. Go ahead.
Well, yes, Robert Stacy is asking if we still sell zinc and vitamin C tablets. We have that and vitamin D in the office for sure, and
Oh, yeah.
the fish oil. So you explained why the vitamin D was important, but do you know, isn't there a certain amount of recommended time you're supposed to spend in the sun, like 20 minutes a day or something like that?
Yeah, that's a good question. I would say, honestly, as much as you can.
Yeah,
Like I think a recommended daily is probably minimum of 20 minutes, probably.
yeah, yeah.
The other thing is in vitamin D3, and I noticed this on myself, so don't um, think anything different. Stacy's back out. You're becoming one of our number one fans. I think that's, but Stacy also does DJing, so I might have to have him in the background. Don't point at
Yeah, yeah. Get some good music.
so a lot of times the biggest thing is you can kind of overtake some vitamin D3. Okay. So a lot of times I'll tell people to go based on how you're feeling. Well, at one point I was I just don't think about it. I was taking I have like a little vitamin D3, but I had this multivitamin. I should go get that. There my multivitamin we sell at the office is a liquid, right? So I dumped a little bit of my liquid, put a little D3 in there, and it was almost too much. And you can feel it almost based on fatigue. Like I was having a little more fatigue than I was used to. I'm like, that's weird. And then so I stopped the D3 because it was like, okay, once D3 is like this perfect balance. You do it over, you'll feel it, right? Same as zinc. Zinc is another critical one that you want in your system, but we don't want to do so much that we get crazy. Okay. So once people had heard um, that this regimen that I just told you pretty much made a lot of different viruses. I don't want to get kicked off anything, but a lot of different viruses seem like a head cold, right? People started taking it too much, and then they were
Yeah.
having just kind of weird muscle symptoms. Nothing major, but enough to be like, oh, I don't like how I feel. That should never be the end result of anything we do, right? Like any of the nutrition stuff. The ultimate goal in chiropractic is to make you the healthiest you can be, right? And I want you to
Mhm.
feel as good as you can be. Once I started the herbal program, though, one of the neatest things is I generally eat and do things pretty well, right? And then when I added this herbal stuff, it added a level because we all get used to feeling what we feel. Does that make sense? Like, so we always feel the same, right?
Hmm.
Never, you never kind of change that. You kind
Yeah.
of get used to that pattern, right? If you feel like crap, you always feel like, like if you stay in that same patterning, but
It
if you
gets
never,
to be normal for people.
we normalize that. And then, if I'm up here, if I'm feeling great all the time and I feel a little crappy, right? That's noticeable, right? But if I'm, feeling here and I feel crappy, it's not as far a jump down. So you don't really, it's almost normalized to do that. And I see, and it's the hardest thing to watch as a chiropractor every day. You see people struggle with just, staying normal, right? We're,
Hmm.
we're always on the bubble. And this is what's really, it's nothing that we're doing wrong. We're on the bubble of a crisis, right? We talk about health things. A lot of us want to stay up at the peak and as far away from like a health crisis as we can, right? But the problem is we sit so close to this thin line where the next bad night of eating crappy or drinking or whatever could put us in that crisis mode. We just don't want to do that anymore. Like have fun, right? There's no sense of not having fun in this life, obviously. But let's get the rest of those days where we're up here away from that crisis level because there's a crisis level here. And I'll be honest with you, most of our healthcare problems have been because we get so close to this crisis level with stress. We don't eat right. We don't move correctly. We stress ourselves out like crazy. And so we end up being down here and just above it's really thin ice, right? So it's ice fishing on 3 inches, which this Chuck boy isn't going to do ever, right? Anymore. I went out once like that. Ooh, 220 pounds on 3 inches of ice doesn't feel, oh, that is scary. But that is where we're at, though, right? I want us to have 2.5 feet of ice and not even worry about it, right? So that is what the ultimate goal of really doing this new nutrition, anything, starting that different journey is really about that. It's not about fixing a shoulder. It's not about fixing this kind of condition. It's take you from here and create this new level of health for you. So you're so far away from the crisis that we don't have to worry about that anymore. Does that make sense? Hopefully,
Hmm.
hopefully it
Yep.
does.
Yep.
But Amy, you got any questions while I write this?
Can you overtake omega-3s fish oil? Can you take too much of that?
Omega 3, I don't ever worry about anybody ever overtaking it because
What
number,
is it good for?
it's really good for the overall health. So it has all these essential fatty acids in it. Your
Hmm.
fatty acids of your nervous system, your joints. There's all kinds of actual processes. Your nerves love that stuff, right? Your
Hmm.
arthritic joints love it, right? So it's
Hmm.
it's kind of like I like fish oil because you think in terms of like lubrication, right?
Yeah.
It's like I call it WD-40, but it's for more than just your joints. It's like your
Yeah.
cells, your nervous system, those kind of things.
Is it good for your brain too? I read somewhere.
Yes. Yeah. It's really good for your brain. And that kind of
Concentration.
spoils it up. Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, and we
Uh-huh.
can go into a list of stuff that's really, really good for you. What I really like, yeah, Mr. Stacy, calcium is awesome.
He said magnesium and
And
calcium,
magnesium
but
and calcium are
yeah.
really good. One of the tricks that I've learned lately, I did not realize, somebody with the thing called restless leg, make them do that. Because what happens in magnesium and calcium is almost every medication, doesn't matter what you're taking, almost every single medication out there leaches your body of magnesium. I don't know why that is, but it does that. And so I
Mhm.
see leg cramps, muscle cramps all the time. So,
Yeah.
like, and most of the easiest ways to get rid of it is magnesium and calcium at night, right? the biggest thing on that one too is don't take too much of it, balance those out, understand how to work those. And that's where I want to, that's where Amy and I's Zoom meeting will be sweet. So
Mhm.
you get on that. So I'm going to make you take it, even if you're my one that's out there. I'm just going to have you do it because what we've seen, and this is our kind of our vision that we've always wanted, we want to create groups that really know and understand this is good, but I really want to have like that interaction question and answer so
Mhm.
that when people come and they have something and they've done their own research, that's awesome. We could create an army of people that know. You don't have
Yeah.
to know how to treat a condition, right? But you sure
Mhm.
as heck can feel a lot better. And like, who's going to do that? Your doctor ain't going to do that. I'm not going to do that. I can do it for a moment, right? That doesn't keep you good. Your lifestyle does that, right? And
Yep.
that's why we really are excited about doing that, where it's like a Q&A and
Mhm.
like learning all the different ones out there.
Yeah.
You got any other ones? Any other questions?
No, well, Robert says he's on anxiety meds and it causes him to feel crappy and wore out. Do you think he should do the SBN blood nutrition blood
He
work?
might be more of okay. So that is a good question. Oh, so his I might make him do in the herbal aspect of things because that coaching might be the kicker because
Mhm.
once his is a little more in depth in like what makes that happen, right?
Yeah.
So with me there are several different herbal remedies that can help that situation get a little bit better, right? And then what's neat, the thing that I love, Robert, I'm telling you right now, my favorite part of this whole herbal thing, when I sat down with, it's a Sunday night watching a football game or whatever, and I sit down with ashwagandha tea. Okay. You won't know what that is now. When we do our Zoom stuff, you'll be like, damn, why did no one tell me about this? So,
Yeah.
ashwagandha tea, I'm sitting there and I had just worked out like in that day, and I felt like, whoa. I feel it was like you felt relaxed, you felt good, and this is there's no effect. You didn't need the marijuana effect with the THC and all those. You actually felt your joints feel better, right? That's what I knew. We got to start doing this. Like we got to start living this life where here's a good example. Like I know what you do all day, right? So those joints are swollen by the end of the day. And I'm going to brag you up a little bit, but there's a certain guy on my chat that changed his whole freaking he only lived on pop for years. This dude switched completely, and it was like I just was so proud of him actually on that. And so when you did that, you went to water, you went to those kind of things. But imagine if you could say, all right, I'm going to have a ginger tea tonight because I just drove. We did it. Rachel and I had a good example. We drove to North Carolina, right? And this is right in the middle of the classes. And so I was like, I'm bringing ginger tea because that helps with inflammation. Not a huge level of inflammation, but you can get it down. Well, every time I drive that far, I just achy, crappy. You just don't feel good, because you just drove that long and just sitting in one spot. So we made some ginger tea and we're like, whoa, that was really cool. But we didn't have to wait for a condition. We just knew, okay, based on the lifestyle or what we were doing, driving for a prolonged period, we knew that there was going to be and energy drinks. Yes, that's right. And the you based on that drive, I knew our bodies would be inflamed at the end of that. So you go, okay, well, let's do a tea that promotes anti-inflammation. And so you start thinking that way in terms of how you're living, things get a lot easier, right? So I don't want to tell you one of the best ones that I didn't know about. Think about this: if anybody out there is having trouble sleeping, hops. Don't think the other hops. But hops in general, as an herb, is one of the best sleeping agents out there. There's quite a few different ones out there. You hear about melatonin and those kind
Mhm.
of things. Melatonin's not great. valerian root, which is so I could start going. That's why I don't want to get you guys too down rabbit holes of like all these different ones you can learn. But as we go, we're gonna break all those down so that we know them, right? And so, like if you did the herbal coaching aspect with us, what can happen is we'll explain the ones that we ask you to do, right? And then you'll just know what they do because they fit your lifestyle, your family history, those kind of things. So I'm trying to think of anything. I got one other thing. You got anything, Amy? I talk
No,
so much. Man, they should
we
have a
know.
live live things. They should have like banned Jeremy from talking. 'Cause I could probably take up the entire YouTube bandwidth each night. I swear. When I teach in physiology at KCC, I used to have this 4-hour class, and I'd warn the mostly nurses that were up there. I go, nurses, just understand. I could talk the entire time, and I won't even look up. Like, so if you have a question, wave frantically. Wave, but stop me, right? Because I would stop and go in that direction. But yeah, a lot of these different pieces. One of the things that I'm super excited about is that if you look back in your history, your family history, um, you can see patterns on your mom's side, your dad's side, right? Those patterns are what I call programs that kind of get ran in your body, right? So this is going to be a little complex here. So it doesn't mean you're genetically doomed to repeat what your parents have done. However, the program that is running that is your gene. That is what a gene is. It's a program. It's not a set in stone thing. It's a program that can be changed. Does that make sense? So
Yes.
what we start doing is seeing that way early. We saw that history, and what if we started doing herbal and nutrition geared to change the program? That is what I'm the most excited about because I think
Hmm.
once you start seeing that and see my family history of programming, because we're finding that all out. One of these times we'll do gut bacteria. I'll stay on this all day. But gut bacteria, a lot of people don't know this part. Babies aren't really born with any gut bacteria at all out of the womb. The first they get contacted is what they call the vaginal gut bacteria. So they have gut bacteria from the vaginal birth. Are we having a lot of vaginal births? Not a lot, right? So then there's strike one for our gut bacteria. So then the second set of gut bacteria comes with mom and breastfeeding. Is that happening a lot? Just asking for a friend. That's not really happening too much, right? So then the last one is where mom and dad and nature, and that's what they call the adult level gut bacteria. So we've skipped set 1 and 2 a lot of times, and now we're all the way up into level 3 with not a big groundwork, right? So that's like adding how much topsoil do we have before that gut bacteria starts messing up. And so that's the things that with this type of coaching we can like link you all the way to the end there. So
Yeah.
that's what I'm excited about the most because now with the access of Amy and us being able to like keep track of everybody and like looking at it and seeing how we're doing over time, it'll change. I think it's going to be a game changer for so many people. It'll be super cool. So,
Yeah.
Stacy, you got any questions?
He said, all I drink is coffee and water, and I feel I don't have the energy I need. So, should he make an appointment to come in and see you?
Yeah, I think so. I think the other thing is I know this doesn't go well with. You should try it right before you come in, which you will. I know. So start adding. I'm just gonna say it. It's like a swear word to you. Vegetables to your diet. Yeah, I paused. So vegetables and
You better
broth,
clarify vegetables. Do you mean green vegetables?
like
Because
the
corn and
greener the
carrots are
better.
vegetables.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
that's true. Yeah, not corn out of the not every grilled corn. Like, it can't be just corn on the cob grilled.
Green vegetables.
Green vegetables. You can grill them though. I don't care. But you get that whole group of things kind of going in your life. You'll start noticing a difference because of where you came from. You had a lot of stimulation, a lot of stimulating drinks, right? So those stimulating drinks kind of messed up your system because it's waiting for you to do that. So it overtired you because your body's like, dude, where's my stimulant? Like you took it all away and now I have nothing. It's almost like trying to quit smoking or something. It's the same thing. Once the body takes away the nicotine, or once you take away the nicotine, your body has to start producing that same stuff, right? And so that's one of the issues that we get. You eat veggies already. All right, try it. So it might be something we got to look at deeper and just make sure they're super green. Add more, right? Go overkill on your vegetables and see if you notice a difference. Sometimes that'll happen because that is a nice slow carb you can burn all day, right? And so those kind of things can happen as well. So yeah, that was good. Oh, you guys have any other questions? I won't keep you too long.
I can't.
Sadie,
Can you say hi,
you like
Dr.
your
Green?
vegetables, Sadie?
Do you like your vegetables? Sadie likes broccoli.
You do?
Hmm.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
Oh, broccoli's delicious.
I know.
I know. So we're excited. One of these times in the Zoom one, we're probably going to do some sauerkraut bacon because so
Yeah,
had Amy try. There's a couple of other recipes. It's not your same,
delicious.
yeah, it's not your same sauerkraut.
No,
Everybody's turning their nose up to me right now.
no, no,
Totally different.
for
Different
sure.
for everything, right?
Yeah,
So we're gonna hopefully start that. I would say in probably a month or two, sometime in the summer, we'll have that other Zoom
yeah,
thing. But if you're interested after watching this, there's a couple ways to do it. One, either say yes, I am, and I'll get a hold of you through here. If you're not, a patient or something and watching, then just call the office or leave a message on one of the video areas, and that way we can kind of get an idea of like we can get you on an email list, and then when we do this Zoom thing, we'll just blast you guys out. So
yeah.
kind of new to it. I'm excited about that. So, but yeah, I can't wait because I think one of the biggest things is Bob. He is the knowledge that all of us want to discover this. There's not one person I've met that says, "Oh, I don't want to." Well, I could say there's a few maybe, but that I don't want to know anything about nutrition ever. Don't want to know what to put in my body. I haven't really heard that, right? And there's so much stuff out there. You'd pay 8,000 a month,
Hmm.
stuff all the stuff into your head that like you think you need, right? And so, and I've seen it. I've seen the walls of supplements that people have taken, and gone to people's houses and they have a whole room full of that stuff, right? It's overwhelming. But if we can find a plan that actually works, right? And then that's where I think ours is going to be a little different than your normal because it's like a coaching strategy type thing. But I can't wait to get on the journey with you guys because you guys always make it freaking awesome anyway. So I'd say go ahead once we do it. I think the staff, I'm having so much fun with that part.
Yeah.
I think we're really getting to the point where we got it dialed in, and then we'll be able to kind of link your journey because what we do is it's kind of a journey as we go.
Goes in phases.
Yeah, it goes in phases. So we have like phase one to wherever you want to go, right? But as
Hmm.
we go, we're adding things that we can do and see how we can like have the body work at its maximum. So we're up here, right? We got 2 feet of ice instead of just that thin 3 inches to an inch and a half, right? Before
Yeah.
that crisis point starts. And then you know, it's really hard because in health right now, if the crisis point's at 2.5, 2 inches, right, 2 inches of ice, you're walking out on 2 inches of ice. Think of your house, your foundation. You are walking out there on 2 inches of ice. The fall through that is so big sometimes that it can be traumatic, right? And that's where our health takes a turn. And that's where you know, in our society, if I can get us to start living at 1.5 feet above that, when we go down a little bit, it's only, you know, it's only a couple inches, right? It's no big deal falling a few inches up here. Falling when your ice isn't that thin is kind of an issue. So, but well, thanks for staying with us. I appreciate you guys.
Yeah.
Yes,
Have,
we'll start short a little bit tonight, and we'll be back next month. Watch for us. We're dangerous. It's good. Thank you, Amy.
bye.
See you later.